When you hear Miami, you most likely think of endless beaches, great nightlife, food, art, music, and fun. You most likely don't think about bike riding, even though Miami finds itself more often into headlines than not because of the sheer amount of fatalities they have every year. When I did some research over the past 4 to 5 years, it was anywhere between 14 to 20. To make matters worse, in Miami, if you hit a pedestrian or a cyclist, you're actually not going to be charged with anything as long as it was an accident. Let's say you were blinded by the sun. Now that's obviously an issue, because if you're being blinded by the sun and hit another car, you will be charged with a moving violation. But if you hit a pedestrian or a cyclist, you won't. There are talks to change this law, but it's already 2022, so who knows how much longer it will take. Even though the law overlooks cyclists, there's a huge bike scene in Miami, and one of the top spots is Key Biscayne, which leads over the William M. Powell Bridge, which is the biggest climb in the area, which means at any day of the week you'll find cyclists on it, but especially on the weekend there are many groups that will take it as a part of their ride. Talking about group rides, there are countless rides all over the Miami for all skill levels in geographically, morning time, evening time. I myself joined a ride with Julian, who is also called Nyato. He is working out of the Bike Link store in Hialeah, and he has a group ride that starts every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. He is a former member of the Cuban cycling national team, and he also is a former state champion here in Florida. And I've been riding with him over a decade every single time when I'm in town. So if you ever find yourself in Miami and in need of a bicycle or some work on your bike, please check out his store Bike Link. I can highly recommend it. I purchased my first road bike here, was an entry level, and still today it's my most comfortable bike I've ever ridden because he made the bike fitting. If you feel too cool for road bike, which is how I felt many years ago until Julian opened my eyes, then there's also a lot of great spots for mountain biking, from Virginia Key to Emily Earhart Park or Olallie State Park, which all of them have different trails for different skills levels, but you will also see that some of these parks are more specialized, but there's even more options than the ones I just mentioned, and it's definitely worth checking it out. During my time living here, I've been a very regular at Virginia Key mountain bike trails, which has been developed over the years even more. And if you want to ride with your family, you don't really are like wanting to go on a group ride or mountain biking, then the safest place that I know here is Shark Valley. It sounds weird, Shark Valley. It's actually full of alligators. It can happen that there are alligators on the trail to which you have to go around. But I haven't heard of anything ever happening there. I'd never been in a dangerous situation. There is also a chance to rent some bikes there if you have friends or family that are in town that don't have their own bikes, for an easy 15-mile loop. For those that don't want to ride a bike in your group, they can also take a tram which goes around. At the very south end of the trail, there's a beautiful tower which you see just all over the Everglades. So I can highly recommend the trip, even though it's a little bit of a drive from Miami. Me personally, for my day-to-day exercise on the bike, I just ride around the neighborhood of my in-laws when we're staying here. Surprisingly, there can be some brisk situations here from people that don't close the gates, and you may have a dog hunting you down the road, or maybe there's just some cars backing up that are not paying attention because they're not used to it. But it's still something that a lot of people can do. It's relatively safe. You just have to be aware that you have to watch out for other participants on the road. And then the big highlight is every last Friday of the month there is the Critical Mass Ride, which is a group that is advocating for better bike laws to make car drivers aware that there's of cyclists on the road. And so they meet, they usually do anywhere between 13 to 17 miles, I would say. And it's a ride you can literally bring your older kids, yourself. It's a fun ride, it's not a race. You have people decorating their bikes with LEDs, bringing boombox, you have dogging trailers, and all in all is fun way to discover and experience Miami. And in case you're in need of a bike and you may want to buy a bike for this Christmas, please make sure you check out the video, I'll link it above, that I made about all the tips and learnings that I've had buying a bunch of bikes over the past decades, so you don't have to pay the price for the mistakes I've made as I figured out which bikes work best for me. I hope you found this episode today helpful. If so, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you stay up to date when I post new videos. And with that, Die Div Kurt out.